Hi everyone, welcome back to Elvis Presley Past, Present and Future, where we are continuing on with our Elvis journey. This week we are continuing on with 1973, and I also have a little bit of an extra content that I'm going to play for you as well, which I'm sure you're all going to enjoy. But for now, let us get on with this week's episode. On March 1, 1973, Elvis and Colonel Parker sell Elvis's music rights to date to RCA, and Elvis enters into a new 7-year recording contract with RCA. Elvis and Colonel Parker also sign a new management contract, becoming 50-50 partners. On Monday, 19th of March 1973, Jessie Presley, at the age of 77, died of a heart attack. Elvis did not attend his funeral. Born in 1896, Elvis's grandfather, Jessie Presley, was often regarded as the bad apple of his family and described as being as mean as hell. Elvis supposedly had little connection with his grandfather. This may not be surprising, since the wife he divorced, Minnie Mae, lived with Elvis at Graceland. She would go on to outlive both her son Vernon as well as her grandson Elvis. In the mid-1940s, aged around 50, he took off and filed for divorce from Minnie Mae. She protested that he hadn't provided for his family in over a year, but the divorce was granted nonetheless. Jessie made his way to Louisville, Kentucky, and although a carpenter by trade, he was employed as a night watchman at the local Pepsi-Cola plant. On Sunday, 25th of November 1956, Elvis played 2 shows, a 2 p.m. and an 8 p.m. at the Jefferson County Armory in Louisville. On Monday the 26th, after picking up his check, Elvis paid a visit to his grandfather at 4008 Beaver Street, and he didn't arrive empty-handed. Elvis brought with him what is reportedly the very first car he ever gave away, a brand new 1957 Ford Fairlane with a new TV set in the trunk, and he handed over $100 to Vera Presley, his step-grandmother. On April 4, the Aloha special is seen on American television for the first time, and it receives 57% of the viewing audience. Elvis went on tour again in 1973 for tour number 9. This tour went from April 22nd to April 30th. The opening night, April 22, found Elvis at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Phoenix, Arizona. The first show was at 3 p.m. and he played to a crowd of 15,000. For the opener, Elvis introduced us all to the fire suit. That was its original name, and the other names of this suit was the Red Flower jumpsuit. It was a white jumpsuit with matching red lined cape. The first known dates when he wore this suit are from this concert, 1973. Elvis wore the belt of this suit with the Pharaoh suit also. Elvis wore this suit at least once during the March 1974 tour. The next night, April 23, 1973, Elvis played the Convention Center at Anaheim in California. It was an 8:30 show, and the crowd he played to was 8,500. For this show, he wore the Starburst suit. April 24, 1973, Elvis played the Convention Center at Anaheim again. This time it was another 8:30 p.m. show, playing to the same number, 8,500. For this concert, he wore the Thunderbird suit. For the next night, April 25, for the afternoon show, Elvis was playing at, where was he playing? At Salad Arena in Fresno, California. This is a 4 p.m. show where he paid for 7,500. For this show, he introduced another new suit, the Aztec Star, which is also known as the Tiffany suit. It was a light blue jumpsuit with matching silver-lined cape. The belt was the original belt, but he also wore the gold attendance belt and the white fireworks belt with this suit. A picture of Elvis wearing this suit was featured on the cover of his 1977 album, Moody Blue. On April 25 in the evening, he was still at Salad Arena, Fresno, 8:30 p.m. show, 7,500 in attendance. And for this show, he wore the Blue Rain suit. For the next night, April 26, 1973, Elvis played at the Sports Arena in San Diego, California. The show time was 8:30 and he played to 15,000 people. For this performance, he wore an upgraded 1973 version of the 1971 Snowflake suit, which was first worn. This was first worn for this tour. The suit is upgraded from the 1971 version that he had of this suit. On April 27, Elvis played at the Coliseum in Portland, Oregon. The show time was 8 p.m. and he played for 13,000 people. He introduced another new suit for this performance, the nail-studded suit. The other names of this suit was the White Nail. It was a white jumpsuit with matching gold-lined cape. There was an original belt made for this, the nail-studded belt, but he also wore the Pharaoh suit belt with this as well. He first wore this suit on this tour, and he also wore it again on this tour with the Pharaoh belt. This suit had a counterpart, the nail mirrored suit. It had only one minor difference compared to this one. This suit has the big different colour stones. The nail mirrored suit had tiny mirrors. On April 28, 1973, Elvis played the Coliseum at Spokane, WA. Showtime was 3 p.m. and he played for a crowd of 6,500. He wore the fire suit again for this performance. For the evening show that night, he again wore the fire suit and played to a crowd of 6,400. On April 29, the venue was the Seattle Center Arena in Seattle. The show time was 3 p.m. and he played to a crowd of 6,800. For this performance, he wore the Lucky suit. On April 29 again, for the evening show, he played for a crowd of 6,800. The show was at 8 p.m. and he wore the Pharaoh suit. April 30, 1973, he played at the Denver Coliseum in Denver, Colorado for 13,000 people. the closing night of this tour, he wore the American Eagle suit. 4 days later, Elvis embarked on a tour of Lake Tahoe, the Sahara Hotel, where he was booked for 34 shows from May 4 to May 20. Elvis did 2 shows a day, a 10 p.m. show and a midnight show. 2 shows a day, a 10 p.m. show and a midnight show. On May 13, he did 3 shows, a 10 p.m., a midnight, and a 3 a.m. He didn't introduce any new suits to this tour. The May 13 show was recorded, and there is a CD of this show. This picture is actually the front and back cover of the CD. The last show he did was May 16 of this tour, as he cancelled his performances for the next 4 nights. The Aloha from Hawaii concert album hits number 1 on the Billboard Pop Album chart. It is his first number 1 album since the Roustabout soundtrack in 1965. It will also be his last album, number 1 album on the pop chart. Now, what I am going to do for you now is I'm going to actually explain something in one of Elvis's concerts. This is actually from last week's era. It is in February of 73. We saw that he started cancelling a few shows. And I actually have footage and sound of an unusual event that happened at this February 15, 1973 show. I'm just going to read the information that I found here, and then I'll show you the footage. Elvis, a very unusual show, February 15, 1973. Elvis performed against the advice of his doctor. He had recently had the flu, and he had to leave the stage, only after having performed 7 songs. After he leaves, Charlie Hodge takes over as the MC, and DJ Sumner and the Stamps perform a solo song. Now Elvis returns 20 minutes later to finish the concert by singing his closing number, Can't Help Falling in Love. Then, as the curtain is coming down, he changes his mind and continues with the concert and says, now this is what he says when he comes after he changes his mind. This audio is not clear on the footage I'm going to show you, but he says, so after he sings Can't Help Falling in Love with You and the curtain's coming down, he changes his mind and he continues with the concert. He says, it's the first time that's ever happened, and I hope to God it's the last, but we're going to do a show. We're going to do something. Please release me. Sweet Caroline. I'll try anything, man. Hot damn. 5 more songs are sung, including Can't Help Falling in Love for the second time. This show marks the very first time that Elvis sang Faded Love live on stage. And it's the last time he would sing I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. The subsequent midnight show this night was cancelled. So, what I have lots of footage that I'm going to play for you now. The first one is a part of where he leaves the stage because he's sick. He has a cold, and you can really hear it in his voice that he's not well. So the first footage is him leaving the stage. And there's a little bit of footage of Charlie Hodge and the Stamps Quartet, little tiny bit, and then Elvis coming back on the stage. And that's when he says he's, it's the first time this has happened. I hope to God it's the last, but we're going to do a show. We're going to do something. That's when he says that monologue. After he says that monologue, he goes into the first song that he sings when he comes back. He does 5 more songs when he comes back that night. The first one was Faded Love, the first time they ever performed it. And the second video is him actually doing Faded Love. There is no footage of... the footage is the start of Faded Love, but then the footage stops. So I got an audio of Faded Love, him singing it on the February 15, 1973, as soon as he comes back onto the stage, and you can hear in his voice when he's singing that he is not well. Anyway, sit back and relax, and I hope you enjoy the footage that I'm about to play for you.
I'd like to call on the Stamps to do an album for just a second, right, for someone. Let me leave the stage and have them do a song.
You just heard him say, I'm going to leave the stage.
What do you want to do?
And ask the Stamps Quartet. There's Charlie. Come on, Tennessee.
J.D. Sumner, ladies and gentlemen, the lowest paid singer in the world, in more ways than one. We just did a film, first one.
And then Elvis comes back after being on stage for 20 minutes. And this is when he does this monologue.
I'm sorry, but I touched the wood and my voice is mad. So I'll try to do this again.
So that is when he says, it's the very first time. No, it doesn't. He returns after 20 minutes to finish the concert by singing his closing number, kind of Falling in Love. So he does that. You can tell Now you see the stage come down. He came back on stage after being off stage for 20 minutes, being sick with the flu. He decided to come back on, do the closing number. You see the stage come down. Elvis changes his mind. And this is where he says, it's the first time this ever happened. I hope to God it's the last. But we're going to do a show. We're going to do something. Please release me. Sweet Caroline. I'll try anything, man. Hot damn.
It's always nice to have that ready. So thanks for having that. Louder, no louder, older than you, wrote you, wanted you, it's you I'm thinking of. It was in the springtime, oh rain, say goodbye, the rain, and the stars above.
And that's where that one ends. So you can see that he was not well at all. And this one I'm going to play for you now is the actual song of listen to his voice.
I've been older than you, wrote to wanted to get you out, they do not know. It was in the springtime, oh, then you said goodbye. I remember our faded love. I miss you, darling, more every day. And time to start heartbeat out think of me and her, but I feel if I want.
And I do want to say the footage I got this from, that wrong date is there. This actual song, it was the first time he performed it on stage. Of Faded Love was the 15th of Feb 1973. The first time he sung it, the first time he did it live on stage was when he come back from being off stage for 20 minutes being sick. So it is not the 26th of January, which is what it says there. The correct date from this is the 15th of Feb 1973. He had not performed it on January 26th. So it's just the wrong date before you all start saying, hey, it's the wrong date. But this is the actual song and how he sounded doing it the first time when he had the flu.
Oh, you go to me, and I want baby, oh my God. Oh, you say goodbye. I remember our faded love. I miss you, darling, more every day. And I tell you what is the start of love. Every heartbeat I still think of you. I remember our faded love. I remember our faded love.
So there we go. So you can actually see that he was not well. You can hear that he wasn't well. And, you know, that's Elvis. He always wanted to give his best. He always wanted the fans. He always wanted to put on a great show for the fans. And he just couldn't go on. This night of February 15, 1973, he just could not go on after 7 songs. He couldn't do it. So he went backstage for 20 minutes, but then come back. He said no. Came out, explained that he had the flu. Did the closing song. But as the curtain was coming down, he thought, no, I'm not. So he came out and did another 5. That's Elvis. That's Elvis. I mean, if he did that when he had the flu and was feeling so sick. Imagine how much worse he was feeling when he cancelled all the shows. That was the 8:30 p.m. show. He cancelled the midnight. I think he did it. He did a show the next day, that next night, and then cancelled the rest of the cancelled shows sporadically. And this one now we've just spoken about today, the concert was supposed to go way up till the 22nd. The last one that he did was the 16th, I think, for memory. 15th or 16th of April was the last one that he did. May 16. Supposed to go up to May 22, the tour. May 16 was the last one he did because he wasn't well. Anyway, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this episode. We will continue next week with the last part of 1973. And then we'll go on to 1974. These are 70, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, obviously are all concert years. So there is a ton of concert material, jumpsuit material, and as it is on Elvis's timeline, as this is our Elvis journey, I'm going to be documenting all the concerts, the venues, the attendance where I can, and the jumpsuits that he wore. I hope you are enjoying this particular time in Elvis's life. And I will see you all again next week. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, it is free, and don't forget to comment. Be kind to each other, be good to each other, and I'll see you next week. Bye.